For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war on the cartels. We're waging war like they've never seen before. And we're going to win that battle. We're winning it already. The sea, I mean, the only problem is nobody wants to go into the sea anymore. Even the fishing boats, they say, let's take a pass. But they don't want that. But we're knocking them out one by one. And very importantly, we've almost stopped completely the drugs coming in by sea. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. That's going to be very easy. More importantly, we're ending wars. We're ending wars all over this planet. For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war on the cartels. We're waging war like they've never seen before. And we're going to win that battle. We're winning it already. The sea, I mean, the only problem is nobody wants to go into the sea anymore. Even the fishing boats, they say, let's take a pass. But they don't want that. But we're knocking them out one by one. And very importantly, we've almost stopped completely the drugs coming in by sea. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. That's going to be very easy. More importantly, we're ending wars. We're ending wars all over this planet. And as you know, and I said before, I ended 8 wars in 8 months, the most of any president in history. No president that we know has ever ended any war. A lot of them go into wars. But this includes Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, you saw that. How about those B-2 bombers? They went in there, they took out that nuclear capability. Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 months. Not anymore. Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, that was going on for 35 years. Big, horrible war. And just this month, we ended the war in Gaza, in the Middle East. We ended the war in the Middle East. Nobody thought it was possible. And we also just signed a deal in Malaysia between a war that was just starting, Cambodia and Thailand. So we saved millions and millions of lives, and I did it mostly verbally. We didn't have to get you involved. When we don't get you involved, that's a good thing. We don't want you to get involved. If I can avoid you getting involved, if I have an ability to do things that maybe other people don't, or we see things, but we stopped a lot of those wars based on trade and tariffs and penalties, and you know, they're getting all ready to fight, and then we tell them, no more trading with the United States. We're putting tariffs on your nation, et cetera, et cetera. It's called national security for us, but it's really national security for the whole world. And everywhere we go, America is actually making peace, and it's peace through strength. When they look at this, when they look at you people, they say, we're not going to mess around with them. I want to recognize a man that you all know well, and he's a tough cookie. He was formerly our Secretary of Defense, but now he is proudly known as our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. And, you know, I don't say this, He gave up a hell of a job. They were going to pay him millions of dollars. They didn't want him to leave. That crazy fox, they didn't want him to leave. But he wanted, every time I'd go on that show, all they wanted to talk about is the military. And I said, if I ever do this, I'm going to bring this guy along with me. He knew more about it than anybody. He didn't want to be doing the other stuff. And he had a chance. He could have made so much money he wouldn't have known. He didn't want that. This is what you wanted, Pete. He's so happy now. Those drug ships aren't coming in anymore. We can't find a ship. There's no ships coming in with drugs, It's like he's been incredible. So thank you very much, Pete. You gave up a lot. We appreciate it. Thank you. And unlike past administrations, we will not be politically correct. You don't mind that, do you? When it comes to defending the United States, we're no longer politically correct. We're going to defend our country any way we have to, and that's usually not the politically correct way. From now on, if we're in a war, we're going to win the war. We're going to win it like nobody ever before. We'd go in, we'd blast the hell out of countries. Shouldn't have gone in. By the way, if you don't go in, that's even better. We don't have to go in, peace through strength. But, we'd go in, we'd win, and then we'd leave. They used to say, to the victor belong the spoils. Well, we'd be the victor, then we'd leave, because we had people that didn't know what the hell they were doing.